Ideas. A thought or suggestion as to a possible course of action. This specific idea has been haunting me, simmering, neglected, and untapped for over 8 years. The planning process can be ugly, messy, and unenjoyable, but it doesn't have to be that way. This is how you go from a hazy idea into a concrete plan using Milanote. Sign up for free using the link in my description. So for this short documentary idea, it's about my friend Andrew, who is a ski groomer at Revelstoke Mountain. And what ski grooming is in the middle of the night, they groom the ski hills and they add those really nice corduroy. I thought it would be really interesting to explore that. And this Milanote board is sort of the ideation behind that sort of seed idea. So starting out, I am a very visual person, and I'm sure you feel this way too, where you hear a song and immediately you picture visuals to that song. So that's what I like to do first. I like to just compile music. So right away when I found this song, immediately there were so many images that came to my head. It felt like a Hans Zimmer piece that I'm able to use. When you get to editing, I'm just like taking all the music from here and you have stuff to work with right away. So you're not like digging for stock music when you just want to get to like the fun stuff of editing. I found this really good song as well, and the first thing that comes to mind is like super intense intro of like mountains. So already, you know, you're listening to music and your gears are sort of turning of what you could use for your piece. I pictured a lot of orchestral, like violin kind of stuff to sort of build this intensity that I wanted to capture for our story. So after I found all this music that I really liked, there was a couple like snowboarding documentaries that I'm really a fan of. So I referenced those right away and I dragged them into our board here. Then there was a bunch of stuff from like Patagonia, Arc'teryx, Oakley, and just as I'm sort of exploring this project and seeing stuff on Instagram and Vimeo and YouTube, I'm just dragging all of that stuff in here. Everything that was in my mind is in this one board, and it's just good to have it in one place. From there, I'm gonna go into sort of the next thing I did, which was created these scenes that I wanted. This is sort of the layout of the video that I was aiming for, and it's great to have this concrete plan because the last thing you want to do is show up on set with like a person that you're filming and have no idea what you're doing. You want to have all this stuff prepared beforehand because this is what's going to make you a better filmmaker. I can literally just play the song that I want to be in the intro and I'm just brainstorming from here. I could see him entering the cat at night. I want to see the corduroy that he's grooming. I want to see him winching up the cat. I want to see snow blowing. And then even on the day when I'm in there in the cat with him, I can be referring to this board and just making sure that I got everything as well. And I can even like listen to the music to make sure the style in which I'm filming is sort of matching this tone as well. I wanted to get all these really nice establishing shots of this town, of the mountain. Really, this is just a brainstorming phase. You're adding pictures, you're adding music, you're adding all these shots you want to get, and you're really starting to just see your piece form. I want time lapses, I want blue hour shots. That's what I encourage you to do when you're coming up with your game plans, is like listen to the music and sort of like write to it. So I wanted to get into like how he looks at grooming as an art form, because whenever you're talking to Andrew, the character, he is so passionate about what he does. He works these crazy graveyard shifts and I don't know how he does it, but he's so passionate about it and he has so many cool stories to tell. And I knew for this section, I could capture that. I think once you're writing to music, it's a lot more fun and it's a lot more freeing than just sort of staring at a blank page. The more ideas, the better. Like even if it's a bad idea and you don't like it, you can always delete it, but write it down. Moving on to this section over here, I heard this song. And like I said, the video kind of goes through these like peaks and valleys. I want it to build intensity, then come back down, then go up again, then come back down. So when I heard this, I'm like, okay, there needs to be a sick scene where he's riding because he's a really good snowboarder. And I want to do all these like crazy crash zoom effects on 16mm. I want to film the trail map and get all these cool macro shots. But unfortunately, if you've seen my story, you know that the 16mm stuff didn't work out. This scene didn't happen. And then I came across this song and I knew I had to add it to the Milanote board. Because right when I heard it, I was like, this is the end sequence right here. Like good vibes, sunshine, if we get that, hopefully. So in this one Milanote board, it's just plugging and playing at this point. I know I can always just fall back on this plan and sort of be my guide when I'm there. So going back to the main board, once I had all those sort of rough ideas, I wanted to find the visual language of the film. I'm such a visual person first. I want to do all the fun stuff of pre-production, which is like finding music, finding the visuals, creating the actual flow of the piece. So what I did next was I just took some screenshots from other snowboarding videos that I was watching. Probably one of my favorite features about Milanote is how it auto-organizes mood boards for you. So what I usually do is I have a browse on Instagram, Vimeo, and I'm saving it to a folder. I'm gonna drag everything in, and it's created a little mood board for us. I could see right away, like, this is what our film is gonna look like. I want sort of these blues to be in there. I want maybe some of these cool macro shots. I definitely want to grab some shots of the corduroy. These cool and warm tones mix, and maybe like a film emulation as well. If I don't want to always refer back to the Milanote board, you can always export this as a PNG image, which is what I do sometimes. So if you're working with other collaborators, it spits this out for you as well, and you could just send this to them and just say, this is what we're going for visually. So going back to our main board, the next thing was to think of questions that I wanted to ask Andrew. So sort of a general rule when you're conducting an interview is you want to start easy. You don't want to get into the meat of things right away. You want to make your interviewee really comfortable on camera. Not everyone is comfortable on camera. You know, you have some people, you sit them down and right away you could see they get really tense. And the best way to sort of ease them into that is like, tell me about the first time on a snowboard. You might not use these questions, but that doesn't matter. The goal with the first 3 to 5 questions is to just get them comfortable. So using the note feature, I just started to brainstorm away. I sort of broke things up into columns, like his upbringing, grooming, riding, and sort of outside of work. Another really important thing when asking these questions is you want to steer away from yes or no answers. So that way you get these really descriptive sound bites that you can, you know, get visuals to, and that will sort of flow really nicely. Like, for example, is grooming an art form? That's just a simple yes or no question, but then I also follow that up with, if so, why? This is your sandbox, and I love this quote by Jordan Peele. He says, when I'm writing a script, I'm just shoveling sand into a sandbox so it can look super scrappy, and then you're later gonna build castles with that sand. Back to the actual homepage of my Milanote board, I like to have my shot list front and center. That way when I'm actually filming the documentary, I'm checking things off as I go to make sure I have everything I need for post-production. I really like utilizing these checklists on the main homepage. I'm keeping track of my creative, and I'm also keeping track of my logistics as well, all in one place. Let's go into my gear list as well. So while I'm packing, I like to create these columns for myself. So as I'm literally packing my bag, I'm literally going through this list and checking things off as I go. For my lighting package, I ended up, because I had my long snowboard bag, I was able to put in my tubes. Quickly, we can look at the budget because I want to be completely transparent with you guys as well. I gave myself a budget of $2,000 for this project. So the biggest costs were my rental car and my flight to get there, and then paying for baggage and all that sort of stuff. This is exactly like an Excel spreadsheet. So even as I go with my project in post-production, I'm still adding to this board. It doesn't end in pre-production for me. There was these other videos that I found while in post-production, and I wanted to reach out to these guys. I'm even coming up with YouTube titles that I want to call the piece. So not only am I just using this for pre-production and actually coming up with my idea, I'm using this throughout the whole project. I'm using it while I'm shooting, I'm using it while I'm actually editing. I'm keeping track of the budget. I'm keeping track of people that I reached out to. So thank you to Milanote for sponsoring this video and making projects like this possible. The project is currently being sound designed, and I'm hoping to drop it in early February. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm really excited to share this project. I'm really proud of it. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next.